To understand Precise End's journey, let's start from the beginning. He was born in Florida in 1997, bred by a relatively unknown breeder, but with some solid pedigree connections. His sire was End Sweep, a son of 49er. End Sweep wasn't a superstar himself, but he was a useful stallion who passed on a lot of early speed. Precise End's dam, Precisely, didn't do much on the racetrack, but her lineage suggested a decent blend of speed and durability. Precise End was sold at auction and landed in the barn of trainer Anthony Dutro. For those who might not be familiar, Dutro has trained plenty of good horses over the years. He's known for getting the best out of his runners, and that's exactly what he did with Precise End. Now, Precise End wasn't an overnight sensation, but he showed early on that he had some talent. In his 2-year-old season, he broke his maiden quickly and ran in some decent stakes races. But it was as a 3-year-old that he started making a name for himself, especially in the New York Sprint division. His biggest win came in the Bayshore Stakes, a Grade 3 race at Aqueduct. He also won the Best Turn Stakes, and while he wasn't beating future Hall of Famers, he was proving to be a very useful horse. If you had a good sprinter in the early 2000s, you knew you had to go through horses like Precise End to get to the winner's circle. But here's the thing. While he was competitive, he wasn't quite at that elite level. He was never going to win a Breeders' Cup Sprint or take on the top horses in open company. And that meant that when his career ended, his options as a stallion were a bit limited. Now, when Precise End retired, he wasn't sent to a major Kentucky breeding farm. Instead, he found a place in New York's regional stallion program. And here's where things started to get interesting. Even though he wasn't a superstar, he was throwing foals that could run. He became one of the leading sires of 2-year-olds in New York, and his progeny were known for being early developers with speed. In racing, that's a valuable trait. Horses that can get to the track early and win races at 2 are always in demand. So while Precise End wasn't a national name, he was quietly becoming a very successful stallion within his niche. And then, in 2005, something happened that changed the course of his legacy. Precise End was sold to Japan. Now, this isn't unusual. Plenty of American stallions have been sent to Japan over the years, but what is unusual is how well he did once he got there. Japan's racing system is structured a bit differently than in the U.S. There's the JRA, which operates the top-tier races, and the NAR, which oversees regional and dirt racing. The NAR needed stallions that could produce tough, precocious runners, horses that could handle the dirt, win early, and be consistent. That's exactly what Precise End's foals were in the U.S., and that made him a perfect fit for Japanese breeding. Precise End's impact in Japan wasn't immediate, but once his first few crops started racing, people took notice. His offspring were winning regularly. They weren't competing in the Japan Cup or the Tokyo Yushun, but they were thriving in the sprint and dirt circuits, which are incredibly lucrative in Japan. He became a stallion that regional breeders wanted to use because they knew they'd get fast, durable, and early maturing racehorses. This raises an interesting question. Why do some stallions succeed in certain countries, but not others? Precise End's bloodlines weren't particularly fashionable in the U.S., but in Japan, they worked. There's a long history of American stallions finding unexpected success overseas. Sunday Silence, of course, is the most famous example, completely transforming Japanese racing. But there have been plenty of others who found their niche once they left the American breeding system. By the time Precise End passed away in 2014, he had firmly established himself as an important stallion in Japan's dirt racing scene. He wasn't a breed shaper like Sunday Silence, but he carved out his place. He proved that success in horse racing isn't always about winning the biggest races. It's about finding the right place at the right time. Had he stayed in the U.S., he might have been a solid regional sire, but he likely wouldn't have left a lasting impact. Instead, by being exported to Japan, he found a market that needed exactly what he had to offer. It's a reminder that in racing, sometimes a horse's legacy isn't what you expect. So what do we take away from the story of Precise End? First, that a horse's racing career doesn't always define its true value. Second, that the global nature of horse racing creates opportunities that might not exist otherwise. And third, that sometimes the right horse just needs the right setting to thrive. Precise End's story is one of quiet success, one that didn't make huge headlines but left a lasting mark nonetheless. That's it for this episode of Chasing the Past. If you enjoyed this look back at a forgotten piece of racing history, be sure to subscribe and let us know which horse you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for listening, and as always, keep chasing the past.
Now open! The Beat the Odds Horse Racing LLC store is officially open. With over 100 horse racing themed products, including shirts, hoodies, stickers, and more, you're sure to find something you love. Check it out now at www.btohr.com and discover your perfect match today. Don't miss out. Shop now and beat the odds.